Hey guys, Chris at Tillman Family Farms. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. This is our Kawasaki Mule here in the background. It's our farm truck. It is way overdue for an oil change and kind of tune up. So I got a oil filter or an oil change kit. I got an air filter and I got some spark plugs, and I think that's all that's here just yet. But anyway, this is a 2018 Kawasaki Mule Pro FXR. Really sporty machine, but it's a workhorse for us. I mean, it gets used every single day. Y'all see it in tons and tons of our videos. So this morning I've already cleaned it all out, cleaned the back of it out, and kind of gave it a little light bath just to kind of get some of the grime and the mud and everything out of it. But I'm going to show you guys how the bed comes up. I'm going to show you what all that I've bought. We got it all off of Amazon or eBay, one of the two. But it's a pretty good kit that came with the oil stuff. They thought of everything. So let me show you that real quick and we'll get started. All right, so the oil change kit came with Kawasaki oil. It came with an oil filter. Like I said, they thought of everything. This is a paper funnel to clean or to put your oil in. This is a new copper washer for your drain plug. And then they even gave us some nitrate gloves to try to keep ourselves clean. So that's the oil change kit. I'll try to get a link to where this was ordered from and put it in the description if you're a Kawasaki guy. So this is a 3-cylinder, so we got 3 new spark plugs, and of course we got an old air filter. That's everything that we have now. I want to say I had talked about ordering plug wires. I'm not sure if we did that or not, but I looked at them a little while ago. They seem to be in pretty good shape. So let me show you guys how the bed on this thing flips up so you can work on the motor. So on this particular model, this right here is on both sides of it, and we also, my dad has a 4010, Kawasaki Mule 4010 on the property, and his bed comes up the same way. So these things, you just reach right here, you pull that, you flip that thing off. There's one on both sides, and then you just grab it and pull it back like that, and then you've got some room to get under here and work on the motor. So go around to the other side and kind of get my plan set up, and I will go over it with you guys and what I'm doing and where I'm doing. All right, so the first thing I'm going to start with is the air filter, and it's located under this panel right here. In order to get in here, there is so this piece goes under here like so, and then it just kind of slides down into place. But there are 3 things holding this in. So first of all, right here, screwed into this hole, there is a Phillips head screw that screws in right there. And then on this side over here, in this hole into here, there is, I call them plastic rivets. There's a tool to take these things apart, but it's this little piece right here, and you pop the bottom side of it in the hole, and then you push that into the top of it. So that's what those are. There's 2 of those, so there's one right there, and then there is one on the inside right there that pops into a hole on the side. They make a tool to take them out, but I always just put a screwdriver in the edge of it and just pried it out, and then just popped it out with a pair of needle nose or something like that. But when you remove it, this is your air box. I'm not quite exactly sure how it comes out, but I'm fixing to figure it out, and as soon as I do that, I'll let you know. Yeah, as soon as I put the camera down, I felt like a goober. So this panel right here is where the battery and all that stuff is, and I've pulled this off many times to get to the battery to hook up lights or whatever on this, and I've just never realized that this is where the air box is. So anyhow, that's where the air box is. These clips right here hold that in. There's probably 4 of them on there if I had to say. So I'm fixing to pop it off and see what this thing looks like. So it's got a hose down here on the bottom. Looks like you can just kind of pop it out of these 2 little things here. So it was wrapped in here and here. Maybe it looks like it's just some kind of drain hose or something. Anyhow, got that out of the way, and this filter literally just sits in there like that. And this piece is going to stay and then this filter is just going to pop off of there like that. I'm going to probably get the air compressor out and blow this thing out, clean it up some before I put it all back together. But that's it, simple as that. So you take the top part off with the three things that are holding it in, and then you take the side compartment off here, and then you just got these 4 clips right here, and then this piece that actually slides in there. It looks like it's got some grooves that it fits in right there, so it just slides in and out with a new filter on it. Get this cleaned up and we'll put the filter back in. All right, so I got my new filter, got this thing kind of cleaned up pretty good. So this whole other end's closed up, so this one's got a hole in it, so it's just going to slide on there like that. It's going to fit in there nice and snug. So I do want to tell you this right now. So in my experience, when you have this off, do not attempt to blow this out, clean this out, or anything like that, because this is feeding right into your motor. This is where the air intake is, so you don't want to blow any of this, take the chance of all that stuff getting into the motor. So just leave that alone like it is. If there's any big debris that's gotten in there somehow, maybe you can pull it out like this, but do not blow anything out of there. So we'll put this back together real quick, and we're just going to reverse this process. So we're going to get right here. So this was like that. I'm gonna try to put that on after I get in there. Oh yeah, much easier. So your tube on the bottom, just wait until you have this back on, and you can just reach right up under there and snap it back in place. So that's done. Put our cover back on. So this cover has some little slots on this side over here, and this slides in at the bottom. And oh, let me see if I can adjust you guys a little bit. So it's got this little clippity-doo thing here that attaches it at the bottom. All right, I'm gonna attempt to show you guys this. So like I said, this piece here has to kind of squirrel its way down in there. So I'm gonna start off at a kind of an angle, work it down in there a little bit, flop it around, try not to lose my piece there. And then this sets in here a certain way, I would imagine. It does, just like that. That's got to go down in that hole. There we go. Everything kind of popped in place. That one's there. So this little push thing came out, so I'm going to slide it back in here. And I'm going to get those two pieces. I'm going to pull this over tight. I'm going to push that one back in, it's all the way in. Then I got one over here in the corner, which you can't see because of that bar. But it does the same way. It's going to push in. And then this screw back here that I was telling you about is a Phillips head screw, and it goes in the hole right here that we were talking about. So put all that back together. If I hadn't been messing with the camera throughout this whole thing, change this air filter is about, I don't know, 5 minutes if you got all the right tools and everything lined up. All right, next I'm going to tackle the spark plugs. When I had this portion here open, I should have pointed out the fact that the coil packs for each spark plug are down in here. So these 3 wires right here are the spark plug wires. I'm just going to follow them. They look like they come back in and come in under this cover. So I'm going to bet that the spark plugs are directly down on the top of each cylinder. Looks like I'm going to have to remove about 6 Phillips head screws, and probably this oil cap, and this whole black cap right here will probably come off. So let's see what we got going on here. Normally when I work like this, I normally have a little magnetic tray to put my screws and nuts and bolts and things like that in, but this plastic lid over here where the air filter was under, it's got some pretty tall sides on it, so it looks like nothing's gonna go flying out of there, and I'll be able to keep up with everything. In this process, don't be trying to get trash and all down at where that oil cap goes. Matter of fact, when I get this black piece off, I'm probably going to put the oil cap back just to keep trash from getting down in there. Like I say, that was one of the biggest reasons why I cleaned this thing up before I got started with this, because I wanted to try to do away with as much debris and trash as I could. Yep, see there, it just pops off. These are your 3 spark plug wires. So let me get around it. Oh, just like I was just talking about, let's go ahead and do this. All right, so I stopped for a minute there because I realized I didn't have all my tools. But anyway, so these come out. This is what they're going to look like. The plug is down in the hole. Normally, to kind of get you a little traction, you just kind of twist on them and they pop right out. The tools for this are going to be an extension so you can get down in the hole, a ratchet. This is all 3/8 drive ratchet, and this is a spark plug socket. Okay, this is a 5/8, which is what our plug sizes are. The difference in this one versus a regular socket is that this one has a rubber piece down in it, that down in a hole like that's going to help you hold on to that spark plug, help you pull it out. So it's got that in there. The other thing is it's a deep well so that it'll take this whole porcelain piece. There's another thing as I start taking these out, I want to point out, spark plugs are supposed to have the gap set on them. And I will show you what I mean here in just a second. I ordered pre-gapped spark plugs just so I wouldn't have to fool with it. Anyhow, the gap, this little arm that comes over the top, I don't know how well y'all are gonna be able to see that, but the little arm comes over the top, there's a porcelain piece down in here that's got an electrode on it. That's where the spark comes from. Spark supply from the spark plug wires. Spark jumps from there to there in time, like that. That's what causes combustion in the engine. So these are pre-gapped. So I'm going to look at all of them, make sure they look about the same. I don't know what the gap is supposed to be on these. That's why I ordered them that way. So I've got the first plug out and everything looks about the same. The original gap looks about the same. The gap on the new one looks the same. They're not in terrible shape, but they're ready. They're ready to be changed. So basically, to put them back in, I'm gonna take my extension, take it off the ratchet. So I got it in there, it's not gonna fall out. I'm gonna set it down in there. I'm gonna get it started by hand and get it snug. You put spark plugs in, you don't want to crank down on these jerkers like you're trying to fix a bush hog or something like that. Put that back on there. I'm just going to give it a little turn a couple times. Let it get nice and snug, and then just bump it a little bit. And there you go. So you're going to repeat that both times. And another thing I didn't talk about. So all of these spark plug wires are basically the length that they need to be in, but you can mess this up. If you put these back in the wrong order, this thing's not going to run right because it's in sequence, it's in timing. So make sure that you lay these plug wires out to where they should go back. All right, so I got all my plugs put back in. I just want to go ahead and start. I'm going to light that up a little bit, but just gonna put them back down in there, and you'll kind of feel a pop. This upper rubber ring kind of fits down in this groove right here. So I'll do all of them that way. Pops in place. So the way that they had these routed was they all came through this way, kind of turned back this way, because this right here has some grooves for these wires to sit in. Oh, pull that back off for a second. Get that set down on there. I'm just going to kind of fool with this a little bit, get my wires pulled up in those grooves. And everything should sit down right where it's supposed to. I'll say that. There it goes. All right. And I'm gonna start putting screws back in, and that's all there is to that. Not bad at all. All right, underneath this bad boy, there's a big old pan on here, it's protective and all that stuff. That you see, they strategically put a big old hole in this pan. That's the drain plug. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna see if I can't make this camera don't mess up. But I have a drain pan, so I'm gonna go ahead and start draining my oil before I take the oil filter off, and I'll show you guys where that's at. So guys, this is what an oil change catastrophe looks like. So my son is the one that bought these pans for changing his oil. This is the second one he's bought, and I see why now. I've always used a big open pan or a bucket or something like that. This thing kind of has fall to one corner. It has this little cap. You're supposed to unloosen the cap, and it's got holes underneath it, and it's supposed to just flow right in there. Well, I'm gonna tell you what, it had no flow at all. The oil would not drop down into this thing fast enough to keep up with it. And buddy, I had set the plug off to the side, so I couldn't get it plugged back up, and it was just it was all over with from there, all downhill. So me and kitty litter are going to be really good friends when I get done with this here in a little bit. All right, so now that we've had our oil change catastrophe, this is the plug itself. This right here on the end of it is magnetic. This little copper washer that you see will be replaced. That came with my kit, but just wanted to show you guys that. I'm gonna get that replaced, and then I'm gonna go to change the oil filter out. All right, so this oil filter, and most ATV or small engine stuff, these oil filters are really small like this. I used to, back in my youth, I had aspired to be an ATV mechanic, so I had actually gone to some schools through Kawasaki and some other stuff for the dealership I worked for. And I ended up with a lot of nice fancy tools like this. This one is a smaller oil filter wrench. The normal oil filter wrenches for cars do not work on these. You cannot get them to close down small enough. So anyway, you gotta have the right one, or you gotta have one that's almost like pliers that'll clamp onto it. So anyhow, this oil filter, I don't even know if we can see it. Anyway, it's down the back side of this motor. I can reach my hand through there, and there's also another hole to where the little bit of oil on this will drain out. So I'm gonna reach down in there and see if I can't get this thing popped loose and get this thing changed out. So in my struggles to get my fat arm down in there, I took the seat off, and lo and behold, there's the oil filter. So I am about to change that bad boy out nice and quickly. All right, so I got the old one off. I did not see any way to really be neat about keeping the oil in check there. So basically, I put an old beat up rag under there and to catch all the loose oil. So I'm gonna go and get this other oil filter. I'm gonna put some oil in the filter to prime it, and then I'll put a little bit of oil on the rubber O-ring. All right, so on these, there's this little rubber O-ring right here. I've always been taught to prime those. So a lot of people say you don't have to do what I'm fixing to do, but I always put a little bit of oil in the filter. Don't want to fill it up, but just a little bit. And I'm gonna take that right there, just kind of rub around the rubber O-ring. Sorry, I'm trying to video and move my fingers all at the same time. Not very good at this. Anyhow, so that's done, and I'm just going to take that and twist it back on there. Hand tight. Do not ever crank down on an oil filter. All right, we're at the last part. Don't forget to put the plug back in. I'm going to go under here real quick, try not to get all nasty in this big puddle of oil down here. Put the plug back in and get the oil put back in it, and that should be it. You should be good to go. A little tune up on the old farm truck. So trying to think if I missed anything or anything like that. I don't think it was. So we put the copper ring on the plug, the new one anyway. Got the oil filter changed, put a little bit of oil in the filter, primed the O-ring, got the plugs changed, got the air filter changed. Let's get some oil in this thing, go for a ride. So when I told you they gave you everything that you need, it's kind of funny. I never thought I'd be using a paper funnel. I got a lot of funnels. but I figured we'd use everything that they sent to us in the kit. So in with the new oil. This is just a little paper cardboard funnel, and it's going to do exactly what we want it to do before it breaks down too much and it won't hold oil. Let these drain in here pretty good and get the cap on it, and I'll show you guys where to check the oil on this thing. And like I say, we'll go for, I'm going to pull this thing out of the way and get my mess started cleaning up. I sent my beautiful, lovely wife down to the Dollar General to get me a bag of the cheapest kitty litter so that I can use it as oil dry. No part stores out here in the country, but we do have a Dollar General down the road a little ways. All right, guys, to check the oil, you're going to go back to this side box that we took off to get to our air filter. So if you look way back in there where that orange piece is, focus. So that is your dipstick. So you can reach in there and grab that thing and pull it out and check your oil from right there. And then it looks like the tube is actually relatively close right there. So it shouldn't be too hard to line it back up. And of course you can help yourself line it up if you go back over here. See, there it is right there. So, but they've got a spot for you to pull it out on the side. But that's it. That's all you need to know. I think that I don't know that my normal viewers are going to watch too much of this, but maybe somebody out there will get something out of it. All right, guys, I'm about to close this thing down. It's not one of our normal videos, but this is part of what we do on the farm. We try to take care of all of our own maintenance on tractors and Kawasaki mules and all that kind of stuff. So I appreciate you guys watching. If you haven't done so, go down, like, and subscribe, and we see you on the next video. I'm just going to take a ride.